This is the Echo Trout X. This rod's $399 and it is available in line weights 3 through 6 in various models for different things. I've been fishing the 9-foot 5-weight. It weighs 2.65 ounces, so it's a nice, light, multi-purpose, medium, fast action performance trout rod. So it's got a nice looking finish to it. My initial impression was positive. I do like the color. There's nothing that's going to knock your socks off on this rod, but the cork does feel pretty tight. I've been fishing it for a short week and it hasn't demonstrated any weakness or signs of pitting or anything like that. The reel seat is nice. It's not, like I said, it's not going to knock your socks off, but it'd be hard to critique the fit and finish of this rod. 7.5-foot 3-weight would be appropriate for small creeks, all the way up to the 6-weight if you're going to be slogging big hopper droppers or streamers or sink tips. So it really is designed with the trout angler in mind that's looking to maximize dollar value in the rod. Echo has always done a great job of that, and this really is purpose-built for the trout angler that wants the absolute best performance and most bang for their buck. As far as casting goes, this rod, they verbalize from Echo, this is Echo's words, that this is made for the advanced caster. I disagree with that. I took this rod for a short week to Montana, and I had my wife and my younger son fishing this rod as well as myself. We all really liked the rod, and it required really no mechanical adjustments in our casting form, and we have dramatically different styles and abilities. All of us were able to just pick this rod up with dry flies and fish it with really little to no adjustment to our timing or feel or anything like that. So it's not an extremely fast action rod, although it might say it's for advanced casters and some of the verbiage. I disagree. I think it's a highly versatile rod. I have found it very, very easy to cast. Now, I've put this rod through a variety of different casting scenarios, from wade fishing on the Flathead River in Montana, where we had very long and wide open runs where I really had to stretch out there and reach out and touch fish at distance, all the way to the St. Joe River in Idaho, where there was a lot of reach casting and real short technical casting around the boulders with a big variety of different roll cast scenarios. Today, I'm hopper fishing on my home river in the Yakima River Canyon, which is extremely fast-paced technical casting, little skip casts, reach casts, really pushing the limits or the boundaries of your accuracy by placing that fly inches from the grass banks. I have no complaints about the rod. It performed fine in a big variety of different scenarios. I've only tested the 9-foot 5-weight, but I have no reason to think that every rod in this lineup is probably going to fish just fine. Now, the big claim to fame for this rod was what they describe as variable sweet spot technology, and it sounds like a whole bunch of marketing mumbo jumbo. I am always extremely skeptical when I hear these things. But I do have to admit, when they came out with what they call the VSS, variable sweet spot technology, or the variable sweet spot design strategy, however they worded it, I was a bit skeptical. After having different casters on this rod and then myself fishing it with a big variety of different flies and different challenges, I do have to admit there's something to be said for what they describe for the variable sweet spot. It does perform under a wide variety of casting styles and a wide variety of different challenges with fly size, wind, and casting distance, of course. So why am I reviewing the Echo Trout X now? Okay, I have to admit, I was very reluctant to give this rod a fair shake. And this is part of the reason, okay? This is one of my son's rods. It's an Echo Trout 9-foot 5-weight. A nice rod, but this one retailed at $350, and it really wasn't gonna blow you away. I thought the Beulah Guide Series rod at $350 was better than this rod. And it's a little bit wonkier. It doesn't seem to rebound and recover quite as quick. You know, there will be a little bit more vibration or oscillation. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit clunkier. A fine rod. I don't dislike the Echo Trout. It's a nice casting rod. It'll perform very, very well for 90% of casters out there. Aren't going to care or have the ability to cast the difference out of it. I'm probably one of the few people that can, so I wasn't real excited. I thought the Echo Trout X was gonna be a trout with a fresh paint job. And it's a very different animal. One, the finish is much finer and better. Everything about it is a little bit sharper, a little bit glossier. The wraps are a little bit tighter. There are alignment dots. We'll talk about those in a minute, alignment dots on the Trout X. But it's just a lighter, finer, snappier rod. My family and I fished both of these rods, and they actually have the same exact line on them. I just have the orange version of that Amplitude Infinity Smooth on my rod. Now, the Echo Trout and this rod, when I take, and it's hard to do with the lines on there, the Echo Trout to me bends just a tiny bit deeper and it doesn't recover quite as quick. It's hard to do that example with the lines on there. It's much more dramatic when there's no line and we can actually watch the true action of the rod. But that Echo Trout seems to keep vibrating. It's not as tight, not as controlled and crisp and clean as the Trout X. Now, the other reason why I'm now reviewing this rod is shop manager Bob was insistent that I review this rod. He absolutely had to have me review it. He was very impressed when we originally tested these rods. It's been months, and I finally gave it a chance. He put one in my hands and said, take this on your road trip to Montana. And I was like, oh, okay, Bob, fine. And like I said, totally different animal, very impressed. I wasn't going to bother take the time to review it. I don't generally review products that I'm not excited about or not going to use. I'm not going to waste your time doing that. But it is definitely not the Echo Trout. The Trout X is cleaner, crisper, a little bit straighter casting. Everything about it is a little bit tighter in general. But I think the alignment dots are nice, just when you're piecing things together. The guides are clean, real light wire snake guides, and the guides aren't exceptionally large. That provides a lot of cast and control for accuracy and consistency, especially with light lines. I'm not shooting gobs of line out there. I'm not trying to cast a mile, so I don't need big shooting guides. What I need is nice tight control for my mending and my accuracy for touch casting along the shore. I think I mentioned before the grade of the cork. I don't know what they claim it is. I know there's different ratings, but the cork just feels nice and tight. There's no glue evident. A lot of cheaper rods, you'll see patches of glue where they fix those pits with different compounds or putties. I'm not seeing any of that on the Trout X. The reel seat is a little bit flashy to me. It's not ugly. I mean, but it's a little bit brighter and flashier than some of the other competing models. And I'm not sure, some people might look at it and just love it. It doesn't look cheap at all, but it's a little bright and flashy for me. But yeah, so the rod has a nice finish. Really happy with the finish. I don't think there's anything to complain about there. Now let's talk about some cons and some competing products that you might consider if you're shopping in the $400 price range for a multi-purpose trout rod. The first con I'm going to point out is one thing that was really cool about this rod and why we like it. It has a removable fighting butt. The fighting butt is so nice, even on a 5-weight, to be able to set it on the ground and not have it slide around or fall over or bang. So it's kind of a nice kickstand. That's pretty minor because most 5-weight rods don't have fighting butts anyway. The other con might be that we have found Echo rods to be fairly delicate. You want to protect the rod tip on these. I haven't had any breakage or any issues, but I want you to treat it like the fine, delicate instrument that it was designed to be. The other con might be that it's $400 for an Echo rod. A lot of people say, man, an overseas built rod, $400. Trust me, you're getting top tier performance for $400 here. So it's at the upper echelon of Echo's price point. So it is their, I don't know if their flagship is the right word, but it is their most expensive multi-purpose trout rod. So if you're balking at the price, you're probably not alone. $400 for an Echo, but I have found this rod to be a great performance. I don't think anybody's going to have any complaints about the fine feel and castability of this rod. Last one is, this is a little bright for me. You know, personally, I like a little bit darker reel seat. I think it's probably an aesthetic upgrade from the Echo Trout, but then the Echo Trout had the really cool Echo logo on the back, which I think is pretty cool, but that doesn't make up for the performance advantage offered by the Trout X. As far as competing products go, you're probably looking at the Beulah Guide Series rod is another one at $350. That's kind of it's a sleeper. And the Beulah Guide Series is offered in some heavier weights. It's not just a trout rod like this one. This one caps at 6 weight. The Guide Series rod goes from 3 all the way up to 8, I believe. I'll do a different review on that product. But if you're an Echo fan, you've had success with Echo, you trust Echo, buy with confidence in the Trout X. I think it's an absolutely excellent product. And I think you'll be very, very happy and satisfied with the dollar value you're getting out of this rod at $399.